Thank you for joining the NextGen series entitled Laying the Bricks for the Family Business. With us today is Mr. Kurnia Kiswoto of PT Kirana Pacific Luas, Indonesia, and Dr. Linda Salim, consultant from Sustainable Family Business.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending the session. My name is Linda Salim. I have a research in family business. I am a family business consultant focusing on the successions. Most of the times I talk to the founder or the older generations, but as you know, in family business, you have to get everybody, all the members to agree on hiring someone from the outside coming in. So I'm talking to all the families basically. And I am here in Surabaya in Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Linda, for the introduction. Next, Kurnia, could you introduce yourself?
Good afternoon. Hi, everybody. My name is Kurnia Kiswoto. I'm the managing director of a plastic manufacturing company, which deals with housewares, industrial products too. And I'm actually a second generation of business owners. And I'm based in Jakarta. We have plant in Jakarta and also in Medan, and we sell our products all over Indonesia. I hope today's session, I can share some ideas or share some insights and how I came about and how, where we are going from here.
Okay, thank you, Kurnia. Thank you so much. So let us start with the first question. The question would be, how did you start, with the family business? Was it a decision that that you yourself wanted to be involved, or was it something that your parents wanted you to be involved?
Hello.
Okay, that is a good question. I think so. I'd like to bring a little back about my family background. My dad actually came from Sumatra. There's this small fishing village many years ago. And he came to Jakarta, to start a manufacturing company that deals with aluminum products. Then later on, he was involved in plastic products. And at the young age of 10, I and my brother was actually sent out to Singapore to do for our education. So we were away from home already at an early age. But during that time, we will see our parents once in a while. And during that time, he already tells us about business in general, what he's doing and how. And this also creates us a sense of sort of understanding about business. And at the same time, wherever there's holiday, we were asked to come back to Indonesia to actually see the business operation. So at the time, we were very much into manufacturing of products. Then our products are being sold through distributors and wholesalers. Then I went on to do engineering school in UK, and I remember my dad and my parents, we were never being told to really what to study. So there was quite a freedom to choose what we like to pursue. In fact, I kind of realized later on, he was actually worried that I did engineering as my major. So he was wondering who's going to handle the business in time to come. it is also because that I'm the eldest in the family, and my dad is also the head of the company, which he runs the company with his brother, that is my uncle. And when I finished my undergraduate, then I was mulling over, should I go back or should I continue to do postgraduate, or should I work for people? But so happened that, you just have this, you feel that you're obliged. You feel that there is a part in you that is filial, that you have to just come back and help him out. Why I can say this is because along the way, while we were away, when we meet up, he will always tell us stories that how the struggles of our grandparents. By the way, we are third generation Chinese descendants from China, from Swatao. So that gives us a understanding. I mean, they have also aspiration for us, and I think so. That is also one of the reasons that I personally make a decision to come back to join us. So that's how I end up joining the family business. So it was a conservative business, conservative manufacturing operation, and then I learned from scratch. I learned from below.
Yeah, Kurnia, maybe you can elaborate. How long did it take you to mull over whether or not to be part of the family business? And having taken up a bachelor in engineering, was that in any way help you, in managing the business now?
Right. If I were to look back, one of the reasons that I actually end up doing engineering is because if you're in the Singapore school system, if you are not good in languages, if you're not good in languages, you tend to end up in technical classes. So that's how I end up technical classes. Then after that, I went on to do Singapore Polytechnic to get a diploma in mechanical engineering. Perhaps it also has something related to what my dad is doing, because we are doing plastic manufacturing, injection molding, so deals with machine. So I think so the early interest and also background with good math and science skills. So I think so that's how I end up in engineering. Now, with regards to coming back and to join the business, I think so it didn't take much thinking in a sense. Of course, you like to to actually work for other people first. That's what initially the thought of. But then on one side, your parents are expecting you to, because they know that the only people that can help them is us, because in family business it's all about family members, and it's quite close knit. And then of course they have aspiration to be at another level, competing with other companies. Yeah, I think so. And also being the eldest among the cousins, I don't think so. I didn't take much long time to decide on that.
Like as you said, you felt that you had to do this because you are the eldest. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. That is setting the pace for everyone that comes after that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'm just going to stretch this particular topic and ask Dr. Linda. Linda, how is it with regard to the family businesses in Indonesia? Are the firstborn usually pressured or feel obliged to be running the family business?
I think among my research and among my clients as well, when you have more than one child in the next generations, as long as there's somebody who's going to be a guaranteed successor, then the rest of them have sort of more freedom to choose what they want to be. However, in the story of Kurnia, I see that his dad's, I call it slow immersion in storytelling over the time when he and his brothers were growing up. It kind of like gets
Correct.
to them. So when you ask Dr. Lay, when you ask Kurnia how long did it take him to mull over and decide to join the business or just create his own path, I think it was longer than that. I think he grew up considering, he grew up balancing, and it kind of like sort of get him thinking, I'll get into engineering, and if I do help my parents, then it's going to be useful. If I create my own path, it's still going to be useful. I think that's the thing with Indonesian family business. Kurnia was right when he said, like, I'm the eldest, and especially, well, obviously he came from family of brothers with no sisters, so the gender play is quite clear in that sense.
Yeah.
However, it's usually, like I said, it's usually the eldest or the only male sometimes. But among the clients here, at least, if we know that the next gen has somebody is like, hey, my sister is going to work for my parents, then the rest of us have more freedom,
Yes.
so to speak.
Okay.
So
Alright.
we've moved in the case of Indonesian family businesses, we have moved from the traditional Asian oldest male thing to just one of us,
The one that is capable to take on the helm.
or interested in.
Yeah, or interested in, exactly. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So thank you for that. So back to you, Kurnia. I understand that you took over, the family business during the financial crisis in '98. And now, again, you are being challenged with, the pandemic COVID-19 crisis. Can you describe to us, the process that you had to go through as a young successor back in '98? What were the biggest challenge that you had to go through, and now having to do it all over again now with the pandemic COVID-19 crisis?
Okay. I came back to join the family business in the '90s. Okay. By the time I learned my ropes, I mean, I started from the very bottom, that is to manage the warehouse and to get system introduced, computerization, and actually basically modernize it. Yeah. And then oh, by the way, I also, because I did my engineering in Europe, and I also introduced European machinery. So I was really involved in that type of what do you call production. And then in '96 we have a new plant, a new factory. Then we also have orders of machinery. So it's kind of like doing well. Then it was '97. Then the rupiah crisis came along. I don't know whether many people remember, Indonesian was actually pre-crisis was 2,500, around 2,500 to US dollar. Then it went all the way down to 16,000. So it was like, those who has a lot of those who has a lot of debts, or those who has a lot of in foreign currency owing to suppliers, and it's a big problem. And obviously at that time we also own machineries, we purchase machineries from overseas. And during that time, we learned a lot from our parents, just like everyone who's young, when we start to join the company business, we have a lot of questions. Why things are not done like this? Why things are not done like that? And of course, we like to do things our own way. And of course, we try to bring Western values, Western thinking into the process. So during the crisis, this is where our parents show us that integrity is important, honesty is important, and also being able to commit to what you have promised in front. Yeah. So if I think back, I mean, there are certain family values, yeah, that also applies very well in business values, yeah. And at the end, it's always the thinking. I mean, the caring of our employees and how are we going to continue their livelihood. I still remember, because at the time Asian crisis, the crisis is more like for big cities, yeah, big cities. You know, things become very expensive because, you know, inflation kind of like multiplies. But on one side, outside big cities, where smaller cities where they have a lot of raw material, what do you call, raw material, natural resources, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they, with that kind of price, they could export. So actually, there's it was not too long then business recovered, and because a lot of outside Jakarta, they could export their products. So we was not really badly affected. But coming back to that employee, but in the very beginning of the crisis, we already try, and we also already know that we will try as much as possible to keep our employees in our company. So we don't do mass layoff. And of course, unfortunately, there are some people that we have to lay off. Yeah, but we try as much as possible. Yeah, we try to adjust their salary to cover the situation, you know. And perhaps there was one of the lessons that, like, can you imagine that's 20 years ago, and now it's happening again. So now it's happening, and at the moment, I personally is more in control, and also with my brother. So there are a lot of decisions taken that we rely on these values that we try to be empathic. I think so now the word is empathy, right?
Mm.
Before that, many years ago, people don't talk about that, but now, of course, yeah, we try as much as possible to retain our and also openness. We also we tell them about the current situation, and we're all in the same boat, and yeah, these are the values that I would say that, you know, is going to carry us through, because yeah, perseverance, resilience, yeah, toughness, etc.
So Kurnia, you mentioned that you have another brother that is also with you running the business. Could you roughly describe the division of, you know, roles that you have running the business? What role do you play, and what role does your brother play?
Yeah, many people ask me this question. So it so happened that he's a younger brother by a year old. It so happened that early on, I'm more inclined to math and science. That's how I ended up doing engineering. And later on, of course, in '96, I did MBA courses to actually update myself about business and so forth. Whereas my brother, he's more the financial person. So he did business studies. Then after that, he did a master in finance too. So it's kind of a good balance itself. So I always say that dealing with my brother is more with the dollar sign or the rupiah sign. And dealing with me is more the things that moves. People move, machine move, yeah, transportation and operational side. Yeah. So that's how we cover each other, I would say. And of course, some over, you know, dinner time or meal time, yeah, we discuss things in general. And then for strategic matters, of course, we also involve my dad. Yeah, still, of course, we let him updated what is going on. Sometimes we also ask for his comment and input. Yeah.
Okay. It is interesting that you say that, you know, a lot of discussions among, you know, your brother and your father is still done at the dinner table.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, this lunchtime, we just had lunch together, and then we just decided that next week we're going to start our holiday for Lebaran, and yeah, because we see there's no point that we continue the work because the business is also very slowed down, very much slowing down. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we still it's a good common what do you call discussion time.
Right, right. Yeah, this is good. So, Dr. Linda,
Yes.
based on what you see, having, like for me, when I speak to family businesses in Malaysia, even, when they have, a board of 12 or 18 people in a board, but some major decisions are still made at the dinner table. Is it similar like in Indonesia?
Yes, absolutely. I think if anyone would tell me that, oh, we make it in the boardroom, it's usually they just move the dining room to the boardroom. And a lot of times it's like if they ask when did you make decisions on this or that, the answer is we don't know. We just talk it over, when we have family meetings and things.
Yeah, yeah, true. Okay, thank you, Dr. Linda. Before I ask Kurnia the next question, I would just like to remind the participants, if you have any questions, please key in your questions at the chat section. Yeah. Okay, so Kurnia, my next question is, you coming from a family business, do you think that how a family business manages crisis, do you think it's the same like non-family businesses? Or how uniquely is family businesses when managing crisis?
Right. With regards to family business managing, oh, by the way, I non-family business, I can assume only from understanding from our employees or friends. Okay, so in this respect itself, family business looking up in surviving through crisis, I think so. A lot of us rely back to the common theme, yeah, the common factors that we have as a family unit itself. So for me personally, it's all about um, working together, supporting each other, filling up everyone's what do you call differences, and because we have a goal in mind that we have to come out of this and we have to survive this better than before. So yeah, that is one thing that I think that it's different from say in corporate world. In corporate world, it's very much who is the shareholder. Yeah, it's more shareholder than the stakeholder. When in family business, of course, the stakeholder also we have to we think of more inclusive. We need to think about more holistic. And I heard this is interesting. I heard a friend who tell me that it's really this time that you really need to look for real loyalty. Who can actually help you, yeah, to translate what we think and how we want to go ahead to the subordinate. Yeah. So this is my insight, I would say, because we are in. Also, one point that I want to say is that in family business, there's this tendency to think in the long run, and the partnership is also long run, isn't it? So it's not going to be, short-term thinking. Yeah, we have to have a foresight, have to have planning what's ahead, and obviously every aspect that is open for discussion.
Yes, yes.
That's my thing.
Yeah, I want to ask Dr. Linda, yeah, based on what Kurnia mentioned, yeah, in terms of family businesses think in the long run, you know, and getting more people involved, you know, is more inclusive. Yeah. In terms of family businesses in Indonesia, when you look at you know, non-family businesses and also family businesses in Indonesia, how or rather, what are some of the unique points that you see in family businesses, you know, other than what Kurnia has mentioned earlier on? How uniquely are they compared to non-family businesses?
I think for the very stark difference is sustainability over profitability, which is what Kurnia just shared with us. That all I can say that non-family business decisions usually do not think about what it would do for their successors. So it's shorter term. Whereas in family business, almost every single strategic decision is more long-sighted. It's looking forward to is it going to be sustainable? What is my next gen going to be dealing with if I take this road and things like that? So during crises like this, it's easier for them to say, hey, we need to cut costs down because 20 years down the road, we will still be there, rather than we cut costs down just only for the next week or for next year, you know. And also the other thing is that it's easier to not look at the proceed, to not look at profitability, you know, because a lot of I don't know if you have the data on this, but usually employees to family businesses stay longer. I'm not sure if there's a real data on that, but over time, usually family business employees, they tend to be like treated as family members. For example, my clients, a lot of them have a dormitory built for their employees so that they don't have to spend costs on transport and housing and things. It's easier during this time, like Kurnia said, it's time when you seek loyalty, when we kind of know, kind of like being able to split apart, okay, this employee is going to be with me for a very long time, and this probably not so much a family business employee material. You know, however, what I see at the same time is also because family businesses think more on sustainability, it's harder to see result. It's harder to see whether or not we've been making the right decision. See, whereas with the non-family businesses, when they cut costs today, 2 months down the road, they see the results.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so thank you, Dr. Linda. So Kurnia, you know, from what we hear from Dr. Linda, she was saying that, you know, employees tend to stay longer, yeah, in family businesses, yeah. So and I like the fact that you mentioned about values such as integrity, honesty, commitment, loyalty. Yeah, I believe these are some of the values that brings not just your family together but your employees together. Am I right to say that, Kurnia?
Oh yeah, certainly. I mean, the employees who has joined family business, they also can see that for themselves how values. I mean, I'm not trying to say family values and business values are different, but it's actually common values, and like the word empathy. Yeah. So now you have to apply on both sides, right? So how we treat our employee, I think all this surfaces from the personal, what do you call, principle of also the founder, from the founder, how he actually translate this to the next generation, and hopefully we also can translate to the next generation also. So yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's important to know that, and many of the employees, yeah, they like what they see. They tend to stay longer because, yeah, like I agree with Linda just now. I mean, you are not looking into cutting costs and you see the result in 2-3 months. but we always think on the long haul. Yeah, many consideration, I would say. Yeah, sometimes it can be very good, sometimes can also be detrimental. But I think so that's part of family business. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to jump and start reading out the questions by the participants. Yeah. So there's one question from Yasmin. Her question, she says, Mr. Kurnia, if you don't mind sharing, how many family members in the business now, in terms of current gen and also next gen?
Okay. In our family business is not very big. Currently, I, my brother, and my younger brother. I used to have a late brother. Yeah, so now only two of us, and my dad still once in a while involved. He comes to the office and he wants to know, how things are going on. And then that's more or less that's about it. So it's not very big, but even though it's not big, but family dynamics, tension are still there. Then whereas for our next generation, they're still not has not come on board, because my two kids are still studying, my nieces and nephew are still studying. So in this case, personally, I'm interested in family business. Yeah. And how to set the path for them, and hopefully it's going to be also probably a choice that they have to think about in time to come. So it's going to be the different challenges compared to my time when I have to decide. Yeah.
Okay. So the next question, it's from Arliza. Her question is, from your experience, do you think that it is hard for the successor to make changes in the way of doing things in the family business, for example, to innovate?
Okay. Yeah, it is true that sometimes if the question is the founder or the successor? Or?
You, so successor. So do you find it? Yeah.
Find it is no. I think so. If you, as a successor, if you are always knowing and also being progressive about your business, I think so. We have a lot of what do you call? We can decide on many things to innovate, many things to improve, many things, as long as the communication is there. Yeah, I can understand that there are some family members. There's family companies. There's a lot of family members. So there are some which can keep up, and there are some who cannot keep up. Now, in this case, then you have to explain to them, why is we need to do this certain way, why we need to automate, why we need to innovate. Yeah, it just so happened that in our business, we are used to creating products, doing things in a different manner. So I think it's a matter of I got this. I learned this from my dad. I mean, my dad also, because in this business of ours, we have to keep on updating ourselves, and also creating new products and looking out for new customer, new businesses. Yeah, this is my take.
Yeah, so you were describing that the involvement of family members are not many, because it's just you and your brother. Your father comes in as an advisor every now and then. Yeah, but in terms of the size of the business, can you roughly give a perspective? How many employees you have, and whatever else that you can share to give the participants a perspective of the business.
Right. We have two manufacturing plants and one main office in Jakarta. In total, our employees about 500 people. We used to have more, but of course we have done many things to be more productive. And we sell, they call it Sabang to Merauke. Indonesia is from the west to the east. Yeah, our products are being sold throughout Indonesia. So okay. I would say medium-sized company in Indonesia.
By standards of the Malaysia, having 500 employees would already account you to be a large family business. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I'll read out the next question. Actually, it's also from Arliza. Yeah. She says, you mentioned family values and culture became your point of reference when making decisions. Have you seen your contribution towards the culture and values, or the founder's values are too strong? Do you understand the question? Yeah. Do you see that your founder's values are too strong, and how do you bring in your values and culture, into the family business?
Like I mentioned just now, that my upbringing many years in the West. Okay, my dad, which is the founder, they are educated, or they are very much Chinese conservative. So their thinking is very much on the East. So it's actually a blend. Okay, so for me, I try to accommodate sometimes the way he thinks, and then of course he also accepts our way of thinking. And I think the one thing great about my dad is that he's able to accept. He's able to accept reasoning. He's able to accept, and let us do our way. Let us try. And yeah, I find that in family business and also among friends, sometimes it can be that the founders, what do you call, opinion is very strong. So this, for a successor, is not so easy to really shine or really step out. And I think so. The key thing that I can say is that about my dad is that he's willing to let go certain part of his thinking, certain part of his way of doing things. But at the end of the day, the underlying values is very much still the same. So it's a matter how delivery is different. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So next question. It doesn't have a name there, but the question is, when there are strong characters among siblings running the family business, who will have the final say? And who, when it comes to dispute over strategic issues, how do you address and resolve this?
Okay. Is the question referring to for us? I mean, I and my brother, or just in general?
Maybe if you can explain what it is like between, in your family business, and then maybe Dr. Linda can answer, when, what she thinks when she looks at other family businesses in Indonesia with regard to this question.
Okay. Whereas for ourselves, like I did mention that our role in the company is quite more or less defined. Anything that deals with money, my younger brother has to deal with it. And then if it is for me, it's going to be more operation. So if there's any decision or any strategic issues that we have to decide along this very defined space, and then of course we call the shots. And the good thing about my brother is that he respects my decision. Then I also have to respect his decision. But of course, there are certain things in the middle, right? In the middle, then there are certain things, there are certain issues or certain decisions that's beyond our final say. Maybe perhaps sometimes we still need my father to be involved. Like especially it may involve external or family members, but distant family members. Yeah. So that is how we do it.
Okay.
Dr. Linda can say.
Yeah, Dr. Linda, what's your take with, when there is a decision that needs to be done, and there are some dispute with regard to, coming up with the decision? How do you see family businesses making decisions?
Let me answer it that in two sections. First of all, I will tell you what I see in my clients and then my participants when I was doing my doctoral, and then I will tell you how I usually advise to be done. Unfortunately, in Indonesia, a lot of times, if the question is who has a final say, usually the older generation still do, because like in a lot of companies, how they structure the ownership is that the parents, the older generations would have slightly bigger ownership than the next generations. So by ownership itself, they would say, hey, I own more than you, so my decision is final, you know. However, I kind of agree with them, sort of. Regardless of what got us here won't get us there, and all the developments of the technology and the management, strategic management and everything. At the end of the day, the older generation, they have been through all the 2-3 decades of working for this company. It's kind of like what Kurnia said, like during the time when he was in school, his father has been innovating for the process. So they might have some experience in that. However, at the same time, you know, we are dealing with different season, different markets. So it's kind of like a push and pull. So at the end of the day, reputation counts, you know. At the end of the day, the younger generations have to kind of like, it depends on how the younger generations pursue their choices, pursue their options, pursue their preference, and convince the older generations. And over time, I'm sure the older generations, they will say like, okay, you've got this. Like Kurnia, you got the financial crisis of 1998, you know, this is, you've been through this, you can do it, you know.
You've got this, yeah.
Yeah, you got this, you've done it before. But at the end of the day, you know, what I see with some of my clients is that the most important thing is still, it's all for one and one for all. You know, whatever decision they're taking, everybody has to go on board, you know.
Correct.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Linda. So let's move on to the next question. This is with regards to, it says, in some instances, decision-making in family business are driven by compassionate, or rather, decisions are being driven by compassion, especially when it comes to perks and remuneration. So how do you deal with this? This question is from Hussein.
Okay. Yeah, it's true that in many family businesses, the family member, they already have sort of like expectation, right? So expectation like entitlement. So sometimes as the founder or successor or the one at helm, this is sometimes not easy to deal with, especially subject that you have to prepare the way, prepare the path to reach to the point and tell him, say, I cannot give you this, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of emotion involved also. This is interesting because I would call it this dynamic that of managing a family members. But I believe that once you are firm and as a leader, you once you decide, it means no change. It's very important. So my suggestion is that put things into perspective and see also why he or she is in this position. Then whether the what you call perks or special treatment, is it going to benefit in the long run or maybe impact on others? No, this I think so. It has to be decided by the founder or the successor as an effective leader. So yeah, that is my advice, I would say. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the next question is from Yasmin. How do you embed good values in family governance?
Good values in family governance.
Yeah,
right?
do you have a family governance now, or is it an informal family governance?
Yeah, for us, it's very much an informal.
Okay.
Because we know that we have a mission, a sense of mission together. So we want to do this to bring our business to which level. Of course, challenges are there, and they're also part of us is conservative in a way, and of course, I'm more what do you call progressive. So it's not really an issue. Yeah, it just so happened that it's only a small family members. But I think so. At the moment, we still have to. I mean, we have to start thinking about this family governance because the generation, if they were to come in, then we need to get this done in a sense. But I believe that I have a good communication, grounding, and also being able to have a shared common goal, a common vision, and yeah, this will be the decisive factors. I think so. A lot of family businesses, they cannot get good governance going on because everybody has his own special interest in a sense, right? So everybody is doing their own thing. Then after things don't work out, then everyone's saying, why it's not done in a way it should. Yeah. This is my take.
Okay, Kurnia. Okay, so let's give you a short break. I'm going to now go to Dr. Linda Salim. There's a question for her. The question is from Rohizan. So his question is, Dr. Linda, how do you measure success or failure of a family business? Is it within, looking at profitability, sustainability? Is it based on effective and long succession period? How do you measure these entrepreneurial practices when you look at, measuring the success of a family business?
Okay, let me take a look at the question.
It's a long question, yes.
I know, yeah. Let me just quickly jot down on the sections. All right, Raizan, is it? Thank you for your question. To be honest with you, how do you measure success in family business? One word that I have to start with is that family business is as diverse as human race, Our families are all different. No matter how many similarities, we all have our unique DNA. The same thing with our family businesses, because after all, family businesses are just the extension of our family. It's the section of where our family is making a living together. So it's just the extension of the household, really. So there's no one formula to measure success. However, I have a few things. If you're talking about sustainability or profitability, obviously they have to go hand in hand. However, as I said before in the earlier section, it should be sustainability before profitability, because the end goal of sustainability is also profitability. We cannot be sustainable without profits. See, so there's just an anecdote with the sustainability. It has to have the unity and sense of ownership, sense of stewardship within the family, and peace in the family. During whatever crisis, succession crisis, the death of family member, the birth of family member, and especially divorce. But if we're talking about that, we can stay here all night. So anyway, in terms of sustainability, if they have unity and they have peace in the families, in short, like less scandalous, more productivity, then you're successful as a family business. And of course, with profitability, as long as all the family members are well cared for, meaning that they have a job provided for when they graduate, if they want to join the family business, and they are provided with enough asset. If they don't want to join the family business, then they have a family trust in place, like the freedom to do what they want to do. A lot of family businesses these days, the younger generation come in and they want to be in technology, and they have the freedom to do that. That is also the measure of success if we look at the profitability. And you mentioned a little bit about philanthropy. Well, philanthropy in family business is a little different from non-family businesses, in the sense that a lot of family businesses don't have kind of like a legit official CSR leg. Of course, if we're talking about the multinational, the very large family businesses, they would have their family business foundations. However, a lot of my clients, they do not have their CSR. If you ask them what kind of social activities do you do, they usually say, well, we don't do that. However, in my past research, it's also proven that family businesses are more benevolent than non-family businesses, only not always under the family business. So a lot of my clients would say like, oh yeah, I always give my employees gift. This one particular employee just lost his father, so I give him extra money to take care of the family and things like that. So they do it out of pocket instead of the officially. I hope that answers the questions for you, Raizan.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Linda. So I'm going to go back to Kurnia. That's one question for you. Under the current economic uncertainty during the pandemic, between survival with regards to financial affairs versus maintaining owner-employee compassion, if you have an acute financial situation, which one of the above would you opt for and why?
Okay, that is a very good question, because we just had a discussion just now too. I mean, what is happening in Indonesia now, it's you know, is becoming it's getting more tough, because this situation, this crisis situation, people are not buying as much as before. So in our business, we get paid 2 months, right, with credit, right? So last April, business was down by 70%. So I told our leaders, that Ring One leaders, I say, our problem is in June. Yeah, this coming June, even business is coming back, but we may have to have workers that work for us, but we cannot pay them 100%, because we are not get paid. We don't get paid yet. So currently we are trying to prepare them what is coming mentally also, and also trying to get the house in order, in a sense, if they have lots of baggage. If you, at the end of the day, like Linda says, is profitability, is cash flow, is sustainability, then obviously there are certain parameters and sets of values that we have to rely on to make decisions. Of course, the people who have been with us, have been loyal with us, that this is the time that they will shine. And then perhaps if we have to make the hard decision, that's what leadership is meant to do. So we really, I mean, we, as much as we want, that we try to keep, but at the end of the day, the condition of the current situation, we just have to depend and pray harder. Okay.
Okay, so we are almost at our 1 hour mark. We usually keep our webinars, within 1 hour. I don't see any more questions, but if there is one last question, we can take it in. But if there's none, in the meantime, Kurnia, is there anything you'd like to say, before we end this session? Any advice to, those who are the founders who are watching this webinar, or the NextGen that is watching this webinar, or, those employees who works with family businesses? What is the message that you'd like to share across, especially during these difficult times?
Yeah. Firstly, thanks for Dr. Leilanie and Dr. Linda giving me this opportunity to share some ideas, some insights of family business. My advice for the founder is to actually prepare your successor or your next gen for the path, right? And at the same time, also learn how to let go. Because eventually they have to feel that they are part of some for the future. They're creating something that is long lasting, and also at the same time that they will make the founder proud. So I've been telling friends too, yeah, parenting is also plays a part. And I just would like to share a little bit about my personal experience with my own son. When my son was 13 years old, he told me that he wants to be like me. Then it really hit me in a sense that what is it that about me that he wants to be? And later on, after thinking about it, and also hopefully that he may be part of the valuable member of the family business. And I told him that I just want him to be leaders of men. So this is what I've seen lacking in many education and also in many parenting, from parents, because they're all chasing the grades, education, but they all forget that eventually our next generation will be leading a group of people, a men, that we have to prepare them from now. And I think so it's very much more important they become leaders rather than the owner of family business. Because at the end of the day, we have to inspire those who follow us. Yeah. Whereas on the second generation or future successor or even successor, it's true that currently there's a lot of choices out there. There's a lot of things that you might want to do, but I can say that there is no better place in the family business, because in family business we can disagree. We can don't say things like we hope to, but everybody accommodates. Yeah, everybody accommodates because we have a common goal. So once everyone understands everybody, and then as long as there's a common drive, and I think so, you can bring your company to a next level. I think so. At the end of the day, the challenge is to bring not just succession in terms of generation, but also to bring the company to the next level. Yeah, the next level, and to be even scaling up faster. My advice to those who are working for family business, I think so. There's advantages and disadvantages, of course, like in every way. But the good thing about in family business is that you get to know and you get to learn a lot more than in, say, you work for a corporate world or non-family business. I believe most family leaders, they are willing to teach you everything about entrepreneurship, about business, about managing, and also networking and so forth. Because if they can trust you to be part of their extended family, which I think so all of us would like to have also, and you'll be in the inner circle, which is going to be interesting career, I would say. yeah, this is my advice.
Okay, thank you, Kurnia. Yeah, that was very inspiring in all your three angles. You know, it's very inspiring. I was glued to the monitor just listening to you, and I believe all the other
Hopefully
participants.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we've got one last question, and this is for Dr. Linda. It's from Aliza. She says, do you see a difference between a family business founded by female as opposed to a male founder in terms of succession?
I just hit a sweet spot because that's actually what my dissertation was about. Thank you, Aliza, for your questions. In fact, I do. What I do see is that, first of all, like female founders, they struggle less in just like passing the baton and sort of letting go of power than male founders. They just don't mind letting the kids lead usually. They have much smoother time transitioning from their leadership to the children's leadership. I think in the cultural sense, although some of the female founders said that they're not very close to the kids when they grew up, but I think culturally, they kind of have the practice knowing that the children are never going to be the same. They just keep growing and growing, and eventually they will be a full grown adults, and they will make their own decisions. They will be able, they don't need mommy anymore. So they had that practice at home, watching the kids grow up. So when it comes to the business, it's the same way. They know that eventually they will have to stop holding the kids' hand and letting the kids lead. So and at the same time, they are also more seen as more nurturing to the non-family employees as well. So that's one of the big difference that I saw. And in terms of the psychology, they are more secure too, because I saw that a lot of founders, I don't see that in Kurnia's case, I don't see that his father, I think your father is pretty secure, is feeling pretty good about letting you and your brothers get involved. However, I see that some of my clients, they're like, have I done the right thing? The questions keep coming back. Have I done the right thing? Are my children going to take care of this and things? However, that doesn't come up with the female founders. I hope that answers the question, Aliza.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Linda. If we can just have one more question, and this goes to Kurnia, and let this be the last question. This is coming from Rohizan. Yeah. His question is, Mr. Kurnia, do you have one most important virtue or values that you strongly believe that will carry your business through? For example, you know, is it trust? Is it entrepreneurial practice, honesty, generosity, sincerity, or, you know, or any particular, you know, the strongest values that you believe in?
I actually thought about this. Yeah, since, you know, I have homework from Dr. Linda that is I think so the most, to me, to myself, yeah, of all values, yeah, there's this, the word humility. Yeah, this humility, to me, I think so, is very important. It's foundation for myself, I mean, and also in our family. And even though being successful, being able to own businesses, to manage people, but it all comes down to we are being what do you call, we are being born, or we have been given the talent, and it's not because of us. So I think so that is the key important part. Even though how successful you are, you still have to be humble, and that would inspire the next generation. Because at the end of the day, if you are successful, you are very proud and too proud, and you may fall harder, I would say. and then it will impact the rest. So yeah, that is my personal and also advice to the other leaders.
Okay, thank you, Kurnia. So there's one last question, but I think I will answer that because it says that, do you have any suggestion on any book we should read to improve ourselves as business owners or founders? So I like this particular book, which is on my table. It's, I know you can see that, yeah?
Oh, that's my favorite too.
Yeah, so it's Entrepreneurs in Every Generation. It's written by Alan Cohen and also Pramadita Sharma, two of the most inspiring scholars, family business scholars, and family business advocates. Yeah, so this book, Entrepreneurs in Every Generation, would be the book that I would suggest to owners and founders and even next generation, to pick up this book and have a read and see ways that you can continue to become entrepreneurs, creating ventures, not just in your current generation, but for your next generation as well. Yeah, because the next generation, when they take over, they need to be entrepreneurs themselves. They need to be entrepreneurs within the family business. Yeah, to have that entrepreneurial mindset. That's the way towards sustainability for the business. Yeah. So Kurnia, did you want to add something?
No, I do agree with that. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So if we are born in the family entrepreneurs, then of course we will wish and we would like to continue the tradition, and at the end of the day, doing good to society and so forth. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Kurnia. Linda, do you have anything that you'd like to say before we end?
Let's see. I think I'm going to talk to the successors out there. And I don't know if this is a family business advice or parenting advice, but what I usually say to the successors and my clients, I usually say that remember that one day you guys will be succeeded by your next generation. So a good way to know to be patient and to kind of like see from a different angle, which Kurnia has done very brilliantly, is to imagine yourself as the one to be succeeded later, and see how you'd like to be treated by our successors, and act that way.
Okay.
I guess that's it for me.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Linda, and thank you, Kurnia Kiswoto, for taking the time. Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity
to speak to all the participants. And to all the participants, thank you so much for staying in, throughout the 1 hour plus. It's been a pleasure to be able to share. Yeah,
it's
1 hour plus. Yeah, be able to share this with all of you, and we hope that you will continue to keep tab on the next Gen series that we're going to have in the future. So this next Gen series is brought to you by the L Space, the Learning Space, an initiative by BinaPavo. So thank you all and have a pleasant day. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.